During a karaoke night at the Willow, I sang a total of 5 songs. First, That's Amore by Dean Martin. Then The World I Know by Collective Soul. Then In the Summertime by Mungo Jerry. Then Yellow Submarine by the Beatles. And then finally I sang On the Road Again by Willie Nelson. While there early on, I got an alcoholic beverage called a White Russian. Which, if I recall, has Kaluga or coffee flavored liqueur. Some vodka and milk. Other than that alcoholic beverage, I just had water, glasses of water with ice, there. For food, I first got an order of buffalo pierogies with some gold sauce on the side, which I dipped each pierogi into. The majority of them 3 times, and a couple just twice. Depending on what felt sufficient. Because the main menu ends at 8 p.m., shortly after I finished the pierogies, I ordered a cheeseburger, 2 cheeseburgers, Willow plate. I had the buffalo pierogies. And then the Willow plate, roughly from 7 to 8 p.m. I recall me and my mom leaving around 6:30 p.m. for the Willow Inn. I recall at one point getting a can of sugar-free Red Bull and a plastic glass with ice. Upon being offered the plastic glass of ice. I got and had the sugar-free Red Bull roughly from 8:45 to 9 p.m. and 9:15 p.m. as the latest end time. Because by that time I had been nodding off considerably for about half an hour at least. And had thoughts of staying up for a long time. Not sure if it was the Red Bull or just sleepiness wave times. Rhythms. I think by 9:45 p.m. I stopped feeling considerably tired and nodding off. This sushi is part of groceries. Me and my mom got after I decided upon my mom picking me up from the Wegmans I work at. After I ended my shift, which was from 8 in the morning to 1:30 p.m. Though my dad dropped me off there at 7 in the morning. Around 6 in the morning, I had with my first cup of plain coffee for today. The last homemade brownie, homemade by my dad's mom, after my dad said that I could have it. I recall having that one cup of plain coffee while at my dad's place. And then upon getting to the Wegmans I work at, after putting away my lunch of 2 sandwiches my dad made, one mild cheddar cheese stick and a plastic bottle of water, I had that lunch around 1 p.m. As that was the time I took my 1 15-minute break for today. After restocking the hard items section, a little throughout my shift, the banana section partially a few times throughout my shift. making it go from partially barren to all full again. At one point, I restocked the carrots and celery section, spending somewhere between 45 minutes to an hour doing that. Since for that and some other sections, such as the chopped stuff, I restocked on the convenience wall, which from the perspective of looking forward from the back of the produce department is on the left wall. Of the produce department, though it's kind of more like a sort of shelf with an angle to it, a bit of an angle. You can't just restock merchandise. You have to rotate it or ensure that merchandise with an earlier sell-by date is ahead of merchandise with a later sell-by date. I recall waking up anywhere from 2 in the morning to 4 in the morning was when I naturally woke up for today. I had 2 cups of plain coffee within the first hour or so. Of me getting to the Wegmans I work at, or essentially during the time between my dad dropping me off and before I started my shift for today. And throughout my shift, a passing customer occasionally got my attention to request help with something, usually to look for a specific product within the produce department. And in those cases, I did my best to look for the product they were looking for. If I couldn't find it on the floor, I would look for it in the back or within the part of the employees only warehouse part of the supermarket that's for those who work within the produce department. Where I would either look for it myself and or if there was a nearby co-worker, I would ask them if they saw or knew if we had that product, and ultimately sometimes the specific product the customer was looking for would be found and other times not. Upon which I would usually say that maybe we would have it later. I also sometimes offered a passing customer assistance, though usually to request assistance, a passing customer would get my attention. It didn't happen a single time where I offered and then a customer told me that they would like help with something. That has happened pretty rarely in the past, though it didn't happen today.